Debts suck, whether it be in the form of money or a favor. No one really likes to owe another person one because they can be abused depending on them. In the case of the movie John Wick 2, this is very much the case. Mr. Wick owes an old friend, Santino D'Antonio, if you can even call him that, a favor. This is due to a blood debt he made a while back in his old life. This is known as the Marker system. Once someone agrees to this blood debt, they owe the other person, no matter how big or small, the favor. Initially, Santino asks John of this favor at his house, to which John declines, much to his dismay. It's after this he goes on to remind John about their honor code and the fact that he got John out of his past life and was the reason he got his wonderful and luxurious house. He tells John to think about it as he's escorted out of his house. Now, not too shockingly afterwards, Santino decides to remind John who he's messing with and blows up his home with a missile or two. Bang! The whole house is in ruins and John is watching his pictures of his deceased wife burn and wither away as his whole house burns to smithereens. Luckily, him and the dog are a-okay. Eventually, he meets with Santino at his gallery and asks him of what favor he wants to be carried out. Santino then tells him that he wants his sister, Gianna D'Antonio, murked in cold blood. This is because he wants to usurp her position at the high seat, particularly the Camorra. John's a bit shocked, but his looming debt mattered more to him. So faster than Sonic, he heads to Rome to take care of business. We're showing him to be getting back into gear with his guns, armor, and escape routes. Fast forward a bit more into the movie and he eventually confronts Gianna. However, in a twist of some weird sorts, Gianna decorates her wrists red and proceeds to lay in her bathtub. I gotta interject here. This kinda pissed me off. Particularly because of the fact that Gianna was built up to be this person of importance and someone dangerous. So why in the hell was she disposed of so quickly? And why even have that whole montage of John getting back into action only for her to go out that way? Now I know that it was to focus more on Santino. I get that. But I just wish that she got more time to shine on screen, as in either have the whole movie to do so, and then have the third movie focus on Santino, but we can clearly tell that that possibility is out the window. She seemed to be very interesting, and there was a clear history between her and Mr. Wick, which they could have paced out a bit more. Because as much as I hated him, Yusuf from the first movie had a much more satisfying death. This was because he was in the movie longer, which made us feel like we were in this long chase with John, who had to go through hell in order to get that massive payoff. Not too long after, Santino ends up crossing John, shocker, and puts out a massive bounty on his head. How much, you ask? $7 million. Funnily enough, this is when the movie starts to become a lot better because it plays to its strength, which is the action, and it ditches the logic, for lack of better words, like it was trying to do with Gianna. I was talking about it with one of my uni mates in a Discord call, and we could both completely agree that this part of the movie was so much better than the first half. Granted, he loves the whole movie more than me, but that's besides the point. We're shown montages of John fighting off every assassin in New York, everyone from janitors, buskers, and everyday citizens, or so they seem. This montage was so badass, and seeing the way he fought them off was so sick, from the massive Asian dude to the nimble blonde chick. It was all amazing. Then, a little later in the movie, John proceeds to mow down Santino's crew, and dog, visuals with this playing out in the House of Mirrors section was downright beautiful. Now, I thought he was going to get Santino easily. However, he put up his middle finger to him and does probably the smartest move ever and hides in the lounge of the Continental Hotel. Now, for those of you that don't know, it's where assassins and the like stay out while on business. However, they have a rule which is non-negotiable, which is that no business is to be carried out on the Continental grounds. So this means that surely John won't pull the trigger on Santino and risk getting his membership revoked, right? He did it. I can't lie to y'all, I thought he was gonna get Santino once he left the hotel, but I was thoroughly corrected. That boy got to work. Unsurprisingly, John had his membership revoked and met up with Winston after. He eventually let him know that he had to leave because he proceeded to put out a hit on him for his actions at the Continental. Consider it a courtesy. I'm glad I got around to watching the sequel because I think it's amazing, minus that whole Gianna section. They killed it here. Thanks for watching, y'all, and let me know your thoughts on the movie, and this is Black Sugar Lovin', out.